Issue 244. We start out seeing the Kane Broadcasting Channel that was running the smear campaign against Sonic, with a text box saying that it's time for the guy that doesn't fear mocking Mobius' top celebrities. So I guess he does this against tons of celebrities, even big heroes like Sonic. This guy's a scumbag. Also, I briefly saw the red thing over the words "The Fandom Menace" as the top of Orbot's head, which would make perfect sense considering this guy has trashed Sonic's reputation. He even has the nerve to say that Sonic's gone from hero to weirdo since the documentary. He makes a joke that, who else did you help create? Next we'll find out he went back in time and gave Fabian Bane his singing lessons, and people laugh as a result of this. I have trouble buying that people hate Sonic for making a hard decision in creating Eggman, when everyone should know how much he hates Eggman. I mean, I guess it makes sense that this is what would lose him respect. Like, maybe people think he only created him so he could have an excuse to be a hero and have people respect him. But it'd feel a lot more satisfying if all the focus was on the fact that maybe that revelation caused people to focus more on what a total douche lately Sonic is to his friends and stuff. That's what would be cathartic to see. People calling him out on bullying his friends. The whole satisfaction in the story arc is karma, but this doesn't feel like karma. Then someone makes fun of Sonic's dangerous super form that could kill everybody, saying that he's lost his parking space and it's time to throw a tantrum and destroy everything. The whole reason this joke happened was because of the extremely contrived nonsense that Porker said Sonic turned super from being mad, and not from being desperate to stay alive. I don't know why Porker would ever say that. The only reason he was written to say that was to give more fuel to the fire, because people would be more sympathetic to Sonic and less afraid of his super form if they knew it was much more rare and was purely a survival mechanism, not something that happens just because he gets mad, which happens a lot. He got mad at Oscar and didn't go super. Surprisingly, we see a turtle guy lampshade to Mr. Kane that it's not wise to make fun of a hero like Sonic. Mr. Kane seems to be idealistic, insisting that people just love heroes like Sonic too much to genuinely hate them because of him. I find it a lot more believable if he was just being an evil dick, instead, with no ridiculous faith in people. Or if he was being forced to do this by Grimer and was afraid. This seems forced. He says that he underestimates people, and the only thing they love more than a hero is a fallen hero. So wait, what? He's talking like underestimating people, but they would be evil if they wanted a fallen hero. Does he want Sonic to be a fallen hero? Why would you want a super powerful heroic force like Sonic who could save the world again if you needed it to go from helping the world to not helping it, or even want revenge against it? It seems like self-destructive behavior. He was just talking like an idealist. This guy's a lunatic. Then after someone jokes that you think he changes shoes once in a while, which I don't really get since I always wear the same pair of shoes, we see Norris the nerd naturally frustrated at Sonic being mocked. However, Norris doesn't seem like he can do anything to help because he has no friends to call, saying nowhere can actually get some friends at this hour. Then we see Sonic running over to KBC angry at his feet being insulted, only to see an angry mob picketing. This is actually being led in favor of Sonic, because naturally Sonic was the one the people all owe their freedom to in the first place. Well, actually it's Super Sonic for causing the EMP wave, Omni for agreeing to Sonic's order to send him to Mobius, and the inventor of the Star Post for making it so Super could be separated from Sonic, and the one who brought the Star Post over to Sonic and had it programmed to do that. So was that Techno or Porker? I forget. It wasn't just Sonic who saved the world. Oh, you ungrateful bastard. Instead of Sonic being appreciative of the fact that a mob of people are standing up for him, he facepalms and looks irritated. You idiot! You could have left us alone! Maybe you deserve what's coming to you. Remember when people in the Dracon Empire wanted his autograph and were on his side for being put in trial earlier? And he just ran off not appreciating them at all? Yeah, this seems to be a running theme with Sonic not appreciating how much people respect him. Sonic then comes to the rescue of the guy who is making fun of him on TV, saying that it's not right for the mob to try to beat him up in response. At least he justifies that he thinks Kane's only doing this to boost ratings for their channel, rather than thinking that Kane's evil. One of the civilians says he's just doing what he thought Sonic would do, and Norris explains that the civilians used to live in fear under Robotnik, but Sonic showed people that fighting is the way to bring about change. Sonic just repeats what he said earlier in his morality self-righteous preaching instead of actually explaining to people the details of how the world got free, which wasn't actually from fighting, but from Sonic telling the Omni viewer to send Super Sonic over to Mobius. When the guy he's trying to defend says he can say whatever he likes because he has free speech, Sonic's a good audience surrogate by saying while pointing at him, "But you're really not making me want to actually help you, so just put a sock in it for a minute, or I'll happily do it for you." And yes, I do change them. Of course he does. They just all look the same. Socks tend to look similar to each other. Then he says that he's getting a bad enough reputation without his fans making it worse by rushing to violently defend him. I guess this was supposed to be a moral... I guess he's worried people will blame him for their actions and consider them to be his evil army. Unfortunately, this only causes one of the civilians to just say that Sonic isn't quite the hero he thought he was when Sonic was just preaching to them about morality. That is so stupid. Why have him say that line? That's dumb. Only a hero would say that. Another civilian says, "Yeah, I think we looked up to you, Sonic." Ugh. I get their logic that Sonic's maybe being weak and cowardly by not wanting to beat someone evil up, but it's more like he's just too self-righteous too. And they're not getting that. After the guy hugs him, thanking him for saving his life, and Sonic tells him not to make him regret this even more, he says that there will be nothing but praise for Sonic from now on. I don't trust this guy. Even if he's telling the truth, people will get mad at him for backpedaling and just assume Sonic threatened him into praising him, or that he was lying all along. He'd be better off not talking about Sonic anymore at all, but then people will question him on it. Later that evening, we see the Emerald Hill base where Sonic sees a news report lying that Sonic just attacked KBC Studios. As the news report just assumes Sonic threatened Hearted Hilltop with his fans on his side. And Hearted retired. I guess that means that he was fired. And, like, it's the smear campaign lying. So are the fans actually going to clarify that Sonic wasn't on their side? Because if not, and there's no explanation for that, then the events coming from this would be forced. I mean, you think a rival news channel would pick up that, hey, this isn't how it happened? Because I'm pretty sure KBC wouldn't be the only channel that would have the news on it, right? Just because one channel is against Sonic doesn't mean that all of them will be. Because the fans were very clearly disappointed in Sonic for not being on his side, so you'd think they'd be vocally complaining about it, and that news would spread and clear his name. They were thinking he wasn't such a hero after all because he wasn't standing up to the guy. You'd think they'd post their complaints about that on Facebook and stuff. There are tons of witnesses to contradict this news report. Though people are going to believe it anyways if they watch it and don't do any research, and it'll take time for the truth to come out about this. Mr. Kane then implies he's even more evil than I figured, saying that Sonic's only helped to further his campaign, and he's his to control. In the next story, we start out with some members of the Mafia buying a meal at a restaurant for Big and not eating anything themselves. I'm guessing they're planning to poison him, but he'll magically be fine for no reason. Why else would they not eat anything? I guess they just don't have any money? Surprisingly, one of the criminals says that if Big works for the family, since they're being genre-savvy about how tough Big was last story, he won't be in trouble anymore. Big says that he's peaceful and has no place in the mob. And after some flying ninjas burst through the window, Big says he's gonna clobber them for ruining his lunchtime. Oh, there's actually other people in the restaurant watching them. And they react with realistic apprehension at the scene, wanting to leave to avoid getting hurt. That's reality suits there. After Big throws his fishing rod at the purple goon when he shows up, he throws Big in the air. Big agrees to help the Mafia because he lost, and that immediately got me skeptical that they'd have the guts to go with a story arc like that for Big the Cat. Then out of complete nowhere, we end the story with Big working as the Mafia's chef, which makes no sense since he was wanted for his ability to catch a bullet and survive a fight just fine. Which has nothing to do with cooking. I love this idea, but it wasn't led up to naturally at all. It's a shame that comic space after this was wasted on a restart story I don't care about. The first story was by Chris G, and was a depressing and frustrating one where some TV channel mocks Sonic for everything but the fact that he bullies his friends. Which would be actually satisfying for me to see him be salted for. And then instead of Sonic being smart and leaving the mob to stand up for him, he tries to preach them out of it, and as karma, he gets framed as the guy who led the charge in the first place. And in front of Kinterboard too. Logically, the fans of the news report would reveal the truth. They would have complained about Sonic being not on their side, calling him a coward. But I guess KBC won't let the truth come to light. Even though Sonic's fans blatantly showed a lack of respect for Sonic because he didn't support them on beating the guy up. Really, Sonic should have just stayed home. Why does he ever leave the house at this point? And the second story is by Jamie J and has Big get trounced in a fight by the Mafia because he was outnumbered and end up working as their chef? I love the idea of Big being a chef, and it's interesting that it's for a bad guy group, but this came completely out of nowhere after the last story and this one was all about the Mafia wanting to kill Big. That was dumb, and a waste of comic space and time and art that could have been better spent on making the main story longer.